Speedway Report is produced and broadcast by the Zeus Radio Network for Racers Reunion Radio. Well, I made my first trip to Bowman Gray Stadium this season so far. A JP Motorsports crew member breaks the jaw of his team owner up in Dover, Delaware, and the bump and run debate rears its ugly head once again. All this and more. Welcome to Speedway Report for Monday, May the 7th, 2018. My big sister Erin's birthday today, May 7th. We are live from the shores of Lake Norman in Race City, USA, Mooresville, North Carolina. I'm Patrick Reynolds, and thank you for joining us on the fastest half hour in racing. Busy May weekend that got cranked up. Isn't May just a lovely month? Yes, it is. We'll get you caught up with who won what as we run down the list of winners from the weekend. The Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Tour was in Dover, Delaware, where Kevin Harvick pretty much had his way with the field yesterday for 400 miles, picked up another win on the year. The Xfinity race on Saturday in Dover was won by Justin Allgaier, and the truck race on Friday in Dover was taken by Johnny Sauter. NASCAR's K&N Pro Series East Tour raced in Tucson, Arizona, where the Twin 100s, where Cody Vanderwall won both ends of the doubleheader. Big story that kind of almost, sliced into Vanderwall's, doubleheader win there was Herschel McGriff bound for the NASCAR Hall of Fame. 90 years old, made his start in the series and just started the evening off. He played the national anthem on the trombone for the crowd at hand. McGriff, definitely on his way to the Hall of Fame. He was a veteran when I was a little kid. Historic race. I know a few folks that were out there covering it. How cool would have that been to be just to see McGriff do this? 90 years old. Herschel, it was in the field. Fantastic to see that. Vanderwall, your winner, picking up both ends of the doubleheader. The IMSA Sports Car Series was at the Meta, Ohio Sports Car Course, where Team Penske swept the event. Winners were Elio Castroneves and Ricky Taylor. Penske finished second as well, with Dane Cameron and Juan Pablo Montoya sharing driving duties for the runner-up position. NHRA was just down the road from us in Atlanta, Georgia. Leah Pritchett was the winner in Top Fuel. Courtney Force took Funny Car. Vincent Nobile in Pro Stock, and Eddie Krawiec in Pro Stock Motorcycle. Females cleaning up in the nitro categories. Jumping over to the dirt tracks at the Lucas Oil Late Models race Friday night in Tazewell, Tennessee. Jonathan Davenport was your winner there. And on Saturday in Union, Kentucky, bummer, they were rained out. That race was postponed. Will be run Wednesday, August the 8th at Union. The World of Outlaw Late Models were here in the Southeast. And Thursday night in Livonia, Georgia, Brandon Shepard was your winner. Friday night in South Carolina at Gaffney Speedway. The Cherokee Speedway in Gaffney, Mark Marlar took the A-Main. And Saturday in Sonoya, Georgia, Chris Madden was your winner. The World of Outlaw Sprints were live on Friday night in Ozark, Missouri. Donnie Schatz, who else, won the race. That is his sixth A-Main of the year. While in Salina on Saturday night, Brad Sweet finally broke the win column for his first of 2018. USAC Silver Crown cars were on the pavement in Toledo, Ohio. Cody Swanson was the winner there. 18 cars showed up, not quite the strength we saw of the last race in Terre Haute, but still pretty good for the pavement. Looking forward to seeing these guys later this month in Indianapolis. The USAC Sprints raced in Plymouth, Indiana, where Kevin Thomas Jr. was the winner over the weekend. Up in Granville, Pennsylvania, Ernie Saxton sends along results every week. Thanks, Ernie, to you. Small blocks were taken by Brett Cressley, the Sportsman by Brad Arnold, and the Late Models by Steve Tutterow. We're going to get into this race a little bit here shortly. The Cars Tour ran a doubleheader not far from us at Hickory, North Carolina, with a 300-lap event split with 150 for the Super Late Models, taken by Chris Dilbeck, and the Late Model Stock Car 150 taken by Josh Berry. And where I found my home on Saturday night up in Winston-Salem, North Carolina at the Madhouse, the Bowman Gray Stadium, for the Crazy Kevin Powell Motorsports 100, taken by the Rocket, Tim Brown, his first win of 2018. He talked quite highly of Burt Myers and the power of the one car. actually passed Burt, took the lead. We'll dive into that race a little bit later. So a little bit to talk about on that end. As I said, my big sister's birthday today, May the 7th. Always a shout out to her. You can't see it in the studios. I've got some photos of her here. She left this world in 2009. Was a big influence on my career, my dreams, my life, and I miss her every day. So if you got some spare thoughts, my big sister can always use them. I miss Erin every day, but she's with us here in spirit. Now, let's talk about this super late model finish, the 150 lapper for the Cars Tour up in Hickory, North Carolina. Made the rounds, was a big discussion topic. Water cooler, if you will, on Monday morning. If you haven't seen the video, let me set the table for you. Raphael Lessard was leading with Brandon Setzer in second. As we head into the final stages of the race, Setzer running second hits Lessard in the bumper in turn one, moves Lessard up the track. This puts Setzer into the lead. Well, heading into turn number 3, Lessard comes into the back of Setzer, puts the bumper to him, turns him right around, and Lessard goes around back. At the end, Setzer was in the back because he spun. Officials put Lessard to the back because he used the front bumper. And we get into the long-standing debate of the bump and run versus the dump and run. And so many people's opinions on the internet, online, saw many, read many, and the opinions are all over the scale as to far who was right, who was wrong, what happened, some people taking a strong stance, some people walking the fence. I'm going to dive right in and state my position. I've talked about it here before. The bump and run versus the dump and run. Same thing. Crappy driving on both parts. They both suck. There's no difference in it. Both drivers used the front bumper as their first means of attack on the driver in front of them. I don't care what you call it. Moving a guy out of the way or spinning him right around, both suck. You've got no talent if you're doing either. I grew up in a day where guys just were above this bump and run, where rubbing wasn't racing. They actually passed each other. That takes talent to me. What I saw, Setzer moved Lessard, put the bumper to him in turn one, moved him up the track. Okay, you had it. To me, that means game on if I'm Lessard now. So he went into turn 3, and he set Setzer right around. Payback. Strict payback for what I saw. So what? You hit me first, I'm going to hit you twice back. Nope. That's how it was. Now, if I'm officials, I'm doing the right thing just what they did. I'm not letting that stand for either one. Now, if he didn't spin, if Lessard didn't spin Setzer in turn 3, I'm not sure what kind of call they would have made, but we're playing the if game here. The woulda, coulda, shoulda game, which I won't, because if this happened, if that happened, there's no way to tell. I'm glad he got put to the back. Both guys were put to the back, one because of spun, one because of the bumper. I would like to think that the car's officials would not have let the wind stand if you just used the bumper on the guy in front of you. There were a lot of people that approved of one move and not the other, like the bump and run is some talented short track superstar move. I'm not a fan of it. It sucks. I grew up in a day where guys would start 18th on a 25 or 30 lap Friday and Saturday night feature and make their way to the front by passing guys, not by using the front bumper and moving guys out of the way. Guys always quote this stupid Days of Thunder movie back in 1990 where this rubbing is racing. Well, rubbing isn't racing. No, it isn't. They use that as an excuse to hit a guy and knock him out of the way. Nerf bars banging off each other, paint being traded, that's all fine. That happens in short track racing. But when you're trying to get around the guy in front of you and you just use the front bumper to move him out of the way, that's a no-talent, candy-ass move. The bump and run is a candy-ass move. The dump and run is a candy-ass move. I'm not a favor of either one. Don't be quoting me because everybody dives back to Dale Earnhardt on this deal, how everybody thought he was the American hero, and it was cool when he did it. Well, no, it was not cool when he did it. When Dale Earnhardt did it, he was booed by 75% of the grandstand. He was the villain. He wore the black hat. He liked it. Personally, Dale Earnhardt was one of the dirtiest drivers I've ever seen. Dale Earnhardt was also one of the best drivers I've ever seen. That's what made me so mad at this guy, was he was gifted, absolutely gifted at the wheel of a stock car, but I wasn't a fan of his because of his techniques with the front bumper. And by the way, the front bumper that he used, you can literally count on your hands how many of these highlight reels that he actually knocked somebody out of the way. Majority of his wins, he won by better equipment and his consummate skill. He was one of the best, arguably the best the sport has ever seen. He also used that front bumper, move guys out of the way, knock guys out of the way. He did it. He did it plenty of times. I was not a fan because of that technique. And it used to piss me off when I saw Earnhardt because he was good enough to win without it. But we're, basically a generation past since his death, and you've got young guys that are not quite remembering how it was and thought Dale was the great American hero. Dale Earnhardt became extremely popular after he passed away. Suddenly, everybody loved Dale Earnhardt when he was largely booed. Now, granted, he had his legions of fans, very popular guy as well, but he was the guy a lot of people loved to hate. A lot of boos when it came to Dale Earnhardt. I didn't like how he used the front bumper to move guys out of the way. Hit him, bumped him, knocked him out of the way. Didn't like how he did it. I don't like how guys do it nowadays. But now they glorify it by quoting this stupid Days of Thunder movie of rubbing his racing. No, I've never heard that line till that stupid movie was made. Now we're still quoting the damn thing. What are we, 28 years later, and we still think that that's the Bible when it comes to short track racing? Give me a break. The movie sucked. The line sucked. It's a lousy line from a lousy movie. That's not what you just get to fall back on. Whatever happened to passing? I grew up when plenty of guys passed each other. They went around. They actually drove around. I was faster, so they actually had the balls to move out of the lower groove, move up, go around a guy on the outside. The guy in front, if he was an ethical racer and was legit, he held his line, didn't move his way all over the track to block. Now, if you're blocking, yeah, I'm going to stick my front bumper in there and leave it. But when I come to you and pass you, my first move shouldn't be the bumper. I've talked about this periodically, and it comes up. I wasn't a fan. I'm not a fan of saying, who was it? Where Setzer moved Lassard in turn one. I'm not a fan of saying what Setzer did was okay and what Lassard did was dirty. It was dirty on both counts. Bump and run, not impressed. It takes no skill to run into the guy in front of you. It's not a tried and true short track move. I certainly didn't grow up watching it. I grew up in the Northeast. I watched modified guys. We did not qualify through time trials. They qualified through heats. The heats were handicapped with the fast guys in the back. The feature was handicapped with the fast guys in the back. There wasn't time trials where the fast guys started up front. They worked their way through in a 30-lap feature. That is how they drove race cars. They passed each other. This bump and run was glorified by the media in the 90s. It was glorified through Dale Earnhardt's legacy. And now after his death, it's glorified through quoting Days of Thunder. And people think that everybody loved Earnhardt and he was a god. No. Hall of Fame, yes. Great, fantastic race car driver, yes. Front bumper, no. He was booed for it. Suddenly he passed away, and suddenly he's a hero for it. No, you're looking at the past through rose-colored glasses. Bump and run, candy-ass move on short tracks, I'm not impressed. Don't put me in the corner of your fan club. What Setzer did in turn one, he moved Lassard out of the way. Dirty move. What he got in turn three, he had coming. So what? But you can't let what Lassard did stand. You can't do that. Cars Tour, put him in the back. You're going to have a Wild West free-for-all if you don't rein this stuff in. It's good that they put both guys to the back. You start parking guys for this front bumper bump and run crap, maybe you'll get results. There used to be a rule in Lebanon Valley that you had to pass the leader for the feature. They would watch the leader in the modified class. I don't know if they still do it, but you had to pass the leader with no contact. It was a rule. That is how you race. Now, if the leader starts blocking, weaving, bobbing up and down the track, I think they viewed it as a different spot. But those days on a 30-lap feature at Lebanon Valley in New York, there were no mirrors and no radios. So you pretty much just had to drive your race and run it like that. These pavement late models, they got spotters, radios, and mirrors. Of course, they're going to mirror drive the guy behind them, and then they're all going to cry when guys use their bumpers. So I like the idea of what the Valley did, what these dirt mods did. You didn't have a mirror, you didn't have a radio. Race your line, race your race. And if you took the lead, that's one position they can pass, or the officials could spot throughout the entire pack. You passed it clean. You didn't touch the leader. That's how it was. I miss these days. Bump and run is a glorified move. I'm not a fan of it from the short tracks all the way to Monster Energy Cup cars. I watched plenty of guys not do it when I grew up. Clean racers, they all did it. They all raced clean. There wasn't a bump and run. And over the years, this has evolved to some glorified short track crap. I'm not a fan. I'm not impressed. Setzer, you had it coming. You moved them in turn 1. I had a bonsai turn 3-2 and turned you around. Sorry, not sorry. That's how it is. All right, I'm off that soapbox from the cars late model bump and run crap. The NASCAR Xfinity Series had a fist fight, not amongst drivers. Had a crew member from JP Motorsports in the Xfinity Series Saturday morning. I believe Lawrence Hayden was resigning from the team, quitting the team, fired, something like that. Got into a fight with a car owner, Jerry Hadaway, and Hadaway got his jaw broken when Hayden just kept punching him. And obviously, police got involved, charges being pressed, all the good stuff. But Jerry Hadaway, partial owner of JP Motorsports in the Xfinity Series, had his jaw broken by obviously former crew member at this point, Lawrence Hayden. As I said, I went up to the Madhouse. You talk about all this stuff at Hickory, North Carolina. We had no such stuff that I witnessed at Bowman Gray Stadium. However, the behavior wasn't all that great. Tim Brown was the winner of the 100-lap modified feature. As he crossed the checkered flag, a fan, which I wouldn't really even call them a fan, but someone they admitted into the stadium grounds by paying a ticket, but certainly not a fan, launched a beverage can at Tim Brown's car as he took the checkered flag, threw it at him onto the racetrack. We can boo, we can cheer, we can yell and scream all we want and against who we want, but throwing things onto the racetrack, unacceptable. The individual was spotted by other fans, identified, and escorted out of Bowman Gray Stadium. Now, hopefully, there's some repercussions, I guess the word is I'm looking for. You can't throw things on a racetrack. You can't, and you shouldn't, and you're stupid for doing so. And I hope the full impact of the law affects I'll use the air quotes, fan, because they shouldn't come back to Bowman Gray Stadium or any racetrack if you're going to throw cans of soda or beer, whatever it was, onto the racetrack and try to hit cars. Lowly move of a coward. Hope you got escorted out. Hope you got some fingerprint time at the local police station, and it's a big headache for you down the road. You shouldn't be allowed at a racetrack. Good news coming up. I've complained about enough stuff. We'll be attending the Little 500 May 26th in Anderson, Indiana, the night before the Indy 500. The sprint car race on the quarter-mile track in Anderson, 33 pavement sprint cars. They will start them 11 rows, 3 wide, just like the big track for the 500. It will be the Little 500. Infield pitting for sprint cars, in which, you need push trucks when you come onto pit road and do your service. It will be live pit stops on the X of the figure 8 portion on the infield of the quarter-mile track, and they'll take off. This is an event you've got to see. Put it on your bucket list, the Little 500. 500 laps for sprint cars. It doesn't take that long. The first Little 500 I ever saw, we green flagged at 8 o'clock on Saturday night. We threw the checkers at 10:20. It was only 2 hours and 20 minutes, and we went 500 laps around Anderson, Indiana. Only a quarter-mile track, and they are pavement sprint cars. One of my favorite events. Such a cool race. Can't wait to see the Little 500 in Anderson. And I've got the results from the annual Aruba contest, the American Auto Racing Writers and Broadcasters Association. I'm going to toot my own horn here for a little bit. Speedway Report was awarded 5 honors for online media. We won 5 awards. First place in the feature report category was a story, Winning Drivers and Graceful Children Provide Daytona Smiles. First place in the blogs category was Carolina Speedway Makes Friends Out of Strangers. Both of those I wrote. And then 2 more stories I wrote. Second place for Deadline News was Takuma Sato becomes the first Japanese driver to win the Indy 500. And it won 3rd place in columns for NASCAR's Modified Tour, Races On Without Ted Christopher. Wrote all 4 of those stories. And our website, SpeedwayReport.com, was the first place winner in the website category. So you can go to SpeedwayReport.com and read all 4 stories. That is our lead blog post, and all the links are up there if you want to see the winning material from the Aruba Awards. And we want to keep our thoughts and prayers with Randy Alexander and his family. He was killed in the sportsman class down in Atlanta, Georgia over the weekend at the Atlanta Dragway over the NHRA competition. Alexander was killed on Saturday at a crash at the track. Thoughts and prayers certainly go out to Randy Alexander. Sad news, part of the sport. Hate reporting on things like that, but it's just part of the dangerous part that we do. I accepted the risk when I was a short tracker back when. Fortunately, wasn't really hurt too bad over any of my crashes. I'm still here, but gosh, I just hate to hear that. And I understand the mentality of racers and wish Randy Alexander and his family the best. Prayers for his family and the memory of Randy as we go forward. But in between our broadcasts, keep up on the world of auto racing with SpeedwayReport.com. This broadcast and all of our past shows are uploaded on the site. We also have racing articles to read, as the 4 that I just mentioned that are award winners from the American Auto Racing Writers and Broadcasters Association. That's the lead post. If you want to read that, all 4 links are within the story. Now, this show you just watched, as well as past episodes, are on Facebook. They're on the Speedway Report with Patrick Reynolds Facebook page, as well as Racers Reunion. They're on Twitter at Speedway Report and Speedway Pat. They will be on the RacersReunion.com forum, as well as the website, SpeedwayReport.com. And if you are personally connected to me on Google+, LinkedIn, and Facebook, they'll be there, as well as our new Speedway Report YouTube channel. Big thanks to everyone on the Facebook live feed for joining the conversation during the show tonight. I'll get back to you shortly. Love to hear your thoughts and opinions on what was said tonight. Please go see a race at a track near you. Our grassroots ovals, drag strips, and road courses are the backbone and the foundation of the auto racing world. So this weekend coming up, I know it's Mother's Day. See if you can get out on Saturday night. I say take mom to a race. What better way to say to celebrate Mother's Day? But that's me. I want to thank all of the military past and present for the freedoms we enjoy as Americans in our daily life, including the simple things like bench racing right here on a Monday night. Freedom is not free, and a veteran paid that bill for us. To all of the men and women who are defending freedom and watching Speedway Report, take care of yourselves and come home soon. A special salute to the teachers, school staff, firefighters, police officers, and paramedics in our own communities. They are quiet and modest heroes every single day. God bless and thank you. You have been watching Speedway Report from the shores of Lake Norman in Race City, USA, Mooresville, North Carolina. Please like our Facebook page, Speedway Report with Patrick Reynolds, and you can follow me on Twitter at SpeedwayPat. On the Drag Racing List Facebook page next is Racing and Rockin' with Draglist.com. BP, JB, and BS will cover drag racing as well as pipe in some great music. We will be back live next Monday, May 14th, wrapping up at NASCAR in Kansas, the Indianapolis Grand Prix, Formula One in Spain, short tracks, and a whole lot more. Thank you all for joining us. Have a happy Mother's Day on Sunday. I'll see you next time.